You're listening to Up the Turnpike with hosts Mitch Anderson and Matt O'Leary.
Hello and welcome to the Up the Turnpike post-game show. What's going on? Matt O'Leary alongside Mitch Anderson. Mitch, how's it going, buddy?
I don't know what I'm dancing for. I hear the music and it makes me go. And then I remember that the Islanders lose 3-1 to the stupid Toronto Maple Leafs. And then I immediately want to stop dancing. That's how I'm feeling. What about you?
Totally valid. A boring matinee game and a matinee loss for the New York Islanders. Not crazy surprising. We've seen this story play out a few times. So figured we'd come on. We're a touch later, but not crazy late after this game come to a close. A 3-1 New York Islanders loss, Mitch. And again, like, it was boring. There were a couple goals that were pulled off the board in the second period, but it felt like a whole lot of nothing going on in this game, at least for me.
It really did. Even right from the start, just absolutely nothing happening. And they got nothing for it. It's like, I think I said this on the pod, or I said this somewhere here, but shit in, shit out.
Yeah.
That's what the Islanders did. They put shit in and they got shit out of it throughout the game. And Patty did what he could. I understand what we're going to get to, like the empty net, and people are probably going to think that was wildly stupid, but we can talk about why it maybe wasn't that dumb to do in the first place.
Yeah, let's get it rolling. First period. This really stinks. The Islanders, I thought, played a pretty good structural first period. This game probably should have been 0-0 after the first. But in the winding minutes, stop me if you heard this before, Mitch. A defensive breakdown in their own zone.
No, it happens way before that even. It actually happens way before that.
Okay, so let's pull up the visualizer and we'll take a look here on this goal.
You missed the puck battle they went along the boards here. Number 8, whoever the hell that is, the defense for probably Tanev, wins the puck battle along the boards and keeps it up. And then Maxim Siplikov just kind of like no shows in the middle of the ice and in the Leaf zone. And then all three, Kyle Palmieri, Brock Nelson, and Maxim Siplikov are just kind of coasting back there. Don't know what the hell they're doing. And then finally, when they get there, that's when your defensive breakdown happens.
The point that I wanted to, you gave a lot more context, which is great. But the point that I really wanted to hit home on, and the broadcast too, Thomas Hickey was very adamant about this. Both Brock Nelson and Noah Dobson going back behind the net here, behind the goal line. Yeah. Big mistake. And then 64 Camp is wide open within no one even remotely close to him, and has a perfect one-timer shot, and it's in the back of the net.
Yeah, it's just nothing there. There's a nice video. I think it's IsleFix has it. A close-up of Noah Dobson, right? Like they say Noah didn't exactly eliminate the threat. So it's Willie Nylander coming behind the net, right? Taking that puck. And Dobson just doesn't do anything to get in his way. That's the one right there. He tries, obviously, but it's not enough. And then Omar is the one who initially.
I'm gonna let it loop.
Right, like watch that.
That's soft. I'm sorry. That's a really soft play. He's like, I'm just gonna stick my hip out. Look, we've talked about this for how long? He's 6'4", 200 pounds, man. Yeah. I'm not saying you got to be Scott Mayfield or any of these big defensemen who are laying like monster hits, but come on, put a shoulder into him, something.
And I guess he was trying to play the puck and misses it, which is another problem. Like you probably weren't getting it anyways, and then it can't get to Nylander. But you're right, that shouldn't in and of itself be the reason that this goal goes in, right? Someone should be there to take Kampf in front of the net. Someone should be there, and the fact that Noah Dobson can't be there because he's trying to play the puck behind the net, as you would expect a defenseman to do, the first forward back, which was Brock Nelson, should be taking the slot. And he doesn't because he goes puck chasing, and here we are. Brock Nelson, who is, by the way, goalless or pointless even in December.
Definitely goalless in December.
Yeah.
I like Brock Nelson, so this is going to come off harsh, and I want to say that I appreciate Brock Nelson for his time here. It feels like he's playing with one foot out the door to me.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it, but I don't think you're necessarily wrong.
And he had the quote earlier in the week too, where he's like, Lou and I talked about what's going to happen here. I mean,
Where else do you want to go with
In the
that?
press box, then don't play him. If this is what it's going to be, don't put him on the ice. Palmieri's not too far off, man. That line just feel like very offense heavy, and not that they were ever really a great defensive shutdown line, so to speak, but
He
they're playing.
was. I'd say Nelson was. But
Okay.
As it's going now, and they've been good offensively. They've been so good
Yeah.
offensively. They didn't need to play defense, and now that offense isn't there, they're starting to play defense. They're having to play defense, and they're like, shit, I don't remember how to do this necessarily.
No, and it just isn't working. So I'm a little frustrated with Brock. He would have a breakaway opportunity in the third, shorthanded that he came up empty on too, which was tough. So Brock's just he's the whipping boy a little bit today for me.
A little bit. And just like Nick is not just like it's, if we're talking about whipping boys, Nick here is mentioning the officiatings, and he's not one to complain about officiating, but the end of that game was really hard to watch.
Yeah.
I don't really want to, because we're not talking about the end just yet here. We're only in the first period, but there was early on that boarding against Kyle Palmieri that went completely uncalled. I don't know how. It's clear numbers. Sure, Kyle sees him, but the onus is on the hitter to not hit him. Yeah, he maybe turns to the numbers, but like the numbers weren't far off to begin with. It was boarding. It was going to be boarding. And the fact that they didn't call that from the beginning, to me, set the tone for how the refs are going to call this game. Sadly, I didn't see the end, but I could only imagine based off what I saw at the beginning of the game, what it ended like.
Can I tell you what it is, or do you want to wait till the end?
Let's wait till the end.
Okay, we will wait to the end then. At that, because it matters to the third period goal anyway. So we'll put a pin in that and hold. Okay. So Islanders down 1-0 after one. Probably should have been 0-0, but as we mentioned, the defensive lapse. Second period, there were 2 goals called back. One for the Islanders, one for Toronto. So the Toronto goal was goalie interference. William Nylander was in the crease, and Sorokin couldn't move, and that was called back. And then the second one, Anthony Duclair, or the Islanders one rather, Anthony Duclair was offsides.
Right, which the offside one was clear. The goaltending interference was clear as well, but you never know, right? We were talking about this off air. You never know with goalie interference. You think you got it. Like how many times, I don't know the actual number, but maybe someone listening could find out the actual number of times that Patrick Roy has won a goalie interference specific challenge. It just doesn't feel like a lot. And you think that he'd be the one to know, because he's done this. He's played the position for a long time, but like, even he has no idea what goalie interference is, and no one does. You never know when we have that, if we're going to win it or not. Thankfully, we did.
Yeah, thankfully they did is right. I thought it was, but as you just said there, you never know. So I was kind of like sitting there gritting my teeth a little bit, being like, I really hope this is the case and they don't have to go on a penalty kill now after this, because we know how that usually goes.
Yeah.
But finally, Islanders tie up the game. JG Pajot on a really nice play actually here by the Islanders on this goal.
Yeah, they're winning puck battles, right? Matthew Barzal digs deep, hands it off to Noah Dobson, and Jean-Gabriel Pajot just ghosts everyone wide open. He almost flubbed that shot too. Watching the replay there, it gets pretty close, uncomfortably close to Joseph Wall. Thankfully, it goes in, and so we've got some life. And Matthew Barzal has a point for the first time in a little while. Not a goal though, still hasn't scored on a goalie yet, but maybe that'll come eventually.
Maybe it will come eventually, but a good goal, a nice play from Dobson and Pajot. Pajot's been playing a lot better this year than last year. He only had 11 goals last year. That was his 9th of the year already, and they're not even technically halfway through the year. Yeah. So that's a plus. Unfortunately, what's not a plus, Mitch, is the goal or the tied game evaporates in 16 seconds.
Not good. That's unbelievable.
16 seconds later, Steven Lorenz on the
goal. Who's that? I've never heard of this guy's name, and he has 4 goals already.
4 goals. Scott Mayfield got dog walked by Lorenz. Wow. And it was a nice shot. I'm going to give him credit. He picked the top corner there. It went in. It's a nice shot, but not the greatest of looks for our guy Scott Mayfield here.
No, and it's just embarrassing stuff from a guy. Again, I watch hockey for a living. My job is to watch hockey, and I've never heard of this guy. And I work in a Canadian company that focuses primarily, I should say, on Canadian teams. And I've never heard until today of Steven Lorentz ever. And yet he has 4 goals and nutmeg Scott Mayfield before dipping on Ilya Sorokin. Good job by him. Scott Mayfield, you have to be embarrassed. That should shave off a year off his contract minimum.
Pull up the hockey reference. A brief stop in Carolina for a few games. San Jose, 10 goals in San Jose 2 years ago. How could you forget that?
Of course.
And 38 games rather for Florida last year.
No. Jesus. Yeah. Never heard of this guy. Obviously, good player. Clearly, good enough to do what he did. Yeah. Good job by him. And yeah, the fact that they score 16 seconds later is obviously the big talking point. Outside of how the goal happened, where was I going? Oh, right. I'm thinking of the comment from Anders Lee just a couple days ago, right after Patty had effectively called him out for not being mentally ready.
Yep.
And then Anders Lee like not fazed by it, basically saying like, yeah, he's not wrong, right? It doesn't catch me by surprise. Well, then do something about it, because this isn't it. You finally get into the game and then you give it away 16 goddamn seconds later. That's not being mentally ready in a game where you didn't look good to begin with. You worked yourself back in and you have no mental fortitude to hold on to that whatsoever. In a period where you did relatively well, 50%, you actually, Corsi was in their favor the entire friggin' game. Expected goals, 57% in all situations in favor of the Islanders. Like, you did well, but you still end up losing the period because you're idiots. Unbelievable. Not okay.
No, definitely not okay. So trailing by a goal entering the third period, Mitch. And this is where things begin to get a little chaotic, especially towards the end of the game. So naturally, the Islanders pull the goalie. And there is a very soft call on Noah Dobson for tripping against Max Pacioretty. And the Islanders, I think, took exception with how Pacioretty sold it.
He's a diver. I know it. I know it.
Exactly. And it's more like, it was to point back to the first thing. They were mad at the Kyle Palmieri hit from earlier in the game that wasn't called.
Who was Max Pacioretty who hit him?
Exactly. So Max Pacioretty hit him, and then Max Pacioretty takes the dive and draws a penalty. So then they swarmed him, and there was some pushing and shoving, but clearly frustrations boiled over. And it's not like I was crazy optimistic that they were going to score and tie up the game with the goalie pulled, because they're not good in man advantage situations or anything, not 5-on-5. But it's still like that with 43 seconds rather, pretty much ends the game.
Yeah, it pretty much does. Except like he does pull the goalie for defensive zone faceoff, which is effectively what Dodge is saying here. What the hell was that move by Hua at the end? Doesn't finish the statement here, but I want to get the leaders for faceoffs, because we are one of the better teams when it comes to faceoffs. So you see, obviously they win the defensive zone faceoff, or what they are, the offensive zone faceoffs.
It was Tavares who beat Peugeot, if that helps you in what you're looking for too.
Not necessarily. I just want team-wide stats, and I obviously can't get it because it's not something that's easily found for some stupid reason.
It should.
Maybe I'm just not searching. No, I don't want leaders. Team, because the Islanders are one team most face-off win percentage. Is that this year? Yeah, the Islanders have the best face-off win percentage in the league at 55.5%. Which is why Patty did it. He's saying my team more often than not wins their face-offs. And so if I put them out there winning the face-off, we're already at an advantage. And there's not much more that Patty can do out there, right? And so he gambles. This is what he did, and it burnt him. But I'm okay with it. He tried something. It was risky, but what else are you going to do? You're only down by 1. You take the shot, and it missed, but normally they win these face-offs. They just didn't, because of course they didn't. Of course they wouldn't. It's the one time that they're supposed to win one, and they just don't do it.
Right. And Peugeot, who's been a great face-off guy, and now Tavares has been pretty good in face-offs this year. So you got to give him credit too, but they normally win those, and they didn't, and that's it. In the back of the net, and you lose 3-1.
Yeah, Tavares 56% on face-offs. When did that happen? Because we never had that
Yeah.
at the bars.
No, this is a recent development. This is late stage robot, apparently.
Yeah, his best faceoff percentage on the island was 54% in 2015-16. Did they just teach him how to take faceoffs in Toronto? Can they do that to Matthew Barzal? Can we just lend him for like a couple of games, teach him how to do faceoffs so he can play center again?
Maybe.
Unreal. Yeah, I get it was risky. I appreciate the risk. It's Patty trying to do something because it's all he can do to like, I care. I want to win. Do you guys care? Apparently you don't, because then you just shit the bed afterwards.
Yep. So we'll do the stats and then we'll do some games here as we usually do. Shots on goal, Islanders more 31-25. Face-off percentage, Islanders better in the face-off dot. Excuse me, as usual, 53.7%. Here you go. Power play 0 for 1. The Leafs went 1 for 4. That's the difference in this one. 20 penalty minutes to the 4. Now, some of that also was, I think Pajot got hit with one at the end. And it was really funny, the wording of it. Abusive officials for JG Pajot.
He just cussed them out for not doing their jobs properly. Good on him. Take a 10-minute misconduct. I don't give a shit at that point.
Absolutely. With 40 seconds left, fine. Penalty minutes 20-4. Hits were pretty even, 22-20. Blocks 17-15. Islanders more. Giveaways 12-10, and takeaways 6-3. Islanders with more.
Yeah, even the power play number isn't that bad. I know we're going to see 25% efficiency on the power play, but 4. We killed 3. That's good for us. It's that normally, 1 for 4 every couple of games type of thing. Whereas for the Islanders, it's almost every game.
And it was the empty net too. That was the power play.
Right. So really, like, the penalty kill was good. It's just the power play is not. Although we only had 2 opportunities?
The one.
So yeah, great. Thanks.
All right, let's do ice times, Mitch. Who do we got leading the way for Islanders forwards?
Oh boy, I'm going to say it's Matthew Barzal.
20 minutes, 18 seconds for Matthew Barzal leading the way.
Did you see the not the post game? Yeah, the second period intermission interview between him and Shannon Hogan?
No, I did not.
He was frosty AF.
Okay.
Not happy. Now I don't think that has anything to do with Shannon. I think it has everything to do with the fact that they were down 1-0 and they weren't playing well at all in that first period. I think he was just pissed about what was happening with the team and just the direction in general. Like, they're just not playing well at all. And he hates the Leafs. Hates it. Not officially. I've not heard it from his mouth. It's just based off of how he plays. It seems that he hates the Leafs. And so this did not sit well with him.
No. He was not happy. I missed it. There was I had a slight accident here at the house. So I got Taylor a foot bath for Christmas, and we were trying it out. And I filled it up too much. And there's a handle on it. So I was holding it by the handle, thinking like, okay, like built-in handle's got to be sturdy, right? No, wasn't. Tips out, water everywhere. So I was cleaning up. I don't know, gallon. It felt like gallons of water.
It always feels like there's more in it than you actually put in. Once you spill it, it's like, how is there so much water in this thing? In anything, a glass, anything. It's ridiculous.
It felt like it was never stopping. So I missed that. That was my first intermission fun.
Okay. And then least amount of ice time. I mean, I'm going to say it's Kyle McLean.
It is. And I was just going to say, I don't remember seeing him in this game. 7 minutes and 16 seconds.
The first period, the first couple of shifts by the fourth line, they were actually really good. In terms of fourth line, they were generating enough. They were generating at least a presence in the offensive zone. So from the beginning of the game, the fourth line was engaged. But then from there, it clearly tailed off. I don't know why. Maybe the Leafs, being the home team, were able to negate that by putting different players on the ice against that fourth line.
Yep.
That may have been the case. But to begin with, they were fine. And then it tailed off.
It did. All right, defense. Who do we got?
Noah Dobson leads the way, I assume.
No, but it's very, very close. So Dobson second at 22:03. Pulock is 1 at 22:07.
He takes the penalty, right? It's kind of the one thing.
Yeah, that's the difference at the end, I guess. Yeah.
It should have clued into my dumb brain. Okay, least amount of ice time is going to be Isaiah George.
14:05 for Isaiah George.
Which is okay. I know we're used to seeing like the 20 minutes he had at the beginning, but you got to ease him in. You can't have him out there and be like on the losing end of everything while he's playing 20 minutes. You can't do that.
I don't hate the 15 to 18 minute range for George Mayfield pair.
Yeah, that's totally fine. It's specifically Mayfield. Oh my God, what a nightmare.
Anyway, Sorokin stopped 22 at 24, 917 save percentage. That's more like it, please.
Yeah, the one day he's putting up a good effort and we still lose. You're like, God damn it, can we not do something about this?
Can't do anything right. All our pets' heads are falling off here. We're having a hard time.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's get to some of these comments here. Already did the first ones. Richard Lord, nice last name. The time is well past for this team to either rebuild or retool. At present, the team is not good enough to even compete for a playoff spot. Is this Spiz's burner account?
I mean, it's that feels very, very true though from Richard. I don't hate the comment.
True. I'm saying that because like here is Spiz. It's the same color, different letter. No amount of practice or punishment will ever make this roster be good. Like these seem almost identical. Different people.
4 minutes apart. I don't know.
Sus. No. They're both not necessarily wrong, although I think that there's a certain amount of practice will make this team good, at least on the penalty kill, at least defensively, but they're just not scoring enough. Clearly, they only have the 1 goal on 31 shots. Like it's just not enough. But change needs to happen. And I think we're just going to have to go through the motions until that change happens.
Say we are in the home stretch of change. January usually is when things start to begin to happen with the trades, then into February. Although I believe deadline's in March this year.
Beginning of March. Yeah, March 8th, I think it is, or something like that.
Okay. So keep an eye out on it.
Trade deadline is March 7th, 2025 this year.
I was going to say March 8th. I would have been off by a day.
Exactly. And then Spiz says, Happy New Year to us. He's saying 28, 32. That's not the year. He's not getting that wrong. That's his beginning of the year projection. They'll only get 28 to 32 wins.
They are almost right on pace for that right now.
Don't do that. He's not going to be able to walk into a door. Like he can't get in his house. His head's going to be so inflated now.
Yeah, it's really the ego thing. Like we get it. He's right. But we gotta pump some humbleness into those veins, I think.
Absolutely.
Slice of humble pie.
Yeah. Michael says, I cannot comprehend why Mayfield is still playing. I pray we buy him out at the end of this season.
What's the Scott Mayfield buyout look like?
That's a good question. It's gonna be a while, right? He's still got 6 years left on that contract. Where are we at here, Scott? Yes. No, that's buyout contract. There we go. So buyout, we would save $2.3 million for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years with a cap hit of $1.16 million. If I can show you the screen here.
Yeah, share it if you can.
Share here. And there you go. So here's the buyout for Scott Mayfield per cap wages, which uses the same engine as Cap Friendly. So you see here, initial is $3.5 million for another 5 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 years at a $1.16 million cap hit. It actually goes 1.16 for 10 years, which isn't bad at all.
I would. Am I crazy to say I would do it?
I don't think so.
That's going to be negligible. The cap is going to go up big again this offseason, and it's not going to knock on wood or anything you got. Hopefully, there's no global pandemic coming down the pike. It's going to continue to go up big each year. So.
I mean, bird flu is mutating, Matt. Hold on to those thoughts.
Okay. Maybe not. We're going to get the bird flu next.
Yeah. So obviously we don't want to have to buy out Scott Mayfield. No one wants that. It's just, I think there's still a serviceable player there, but it has to be third pair. It has to be minimal minutes, and we need a more structured penalty kill for him to flourish. I think they did a good job of taking away the slot today, which is why they didn't technically score a power play goal. They did, I know, literally do so, but empty net, like it's really hard not to do that.
Yeah, it counts, but it doesn't. It's actually kind of a wash from a few post games ago when I said that I was counting the goal that happened right after the penalty expired as a power play goal against. This one I won't count. So now it's a complete wash.
Yeah,
They've
exactly.
each other out.
Exactly. Michael then continues, says our defense needs a major upgrade. Here's the catch: Dobson, Mayfield, and Pellick have to go.
That's a lot of clear out, but
I think that's too much.
I think that's too much clear out as well. There's been some new Twitter rumblings. Can you want to indulge me on my Twitter rumblings that I've found here?
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Noah Dobson in a package for Elias Pettersson.
Deal done. Yep.
Now it's not real Twitter rumblings. It's basically being like there's been some iffy things said about him in Vancouver, and
Right.
maybe a hockey trade would benefit both of these teams here. Oh, look, the doggy.
The dog's here. Pete's here. Yeah. Come on up. You want to say hi to everyone, Pete? Come on up. Come on up. Come on up. There we go.
This will be better than anything. Oh, there we
There
go.
we
This
go.
is better
There's
than any Islanders hockey we've seen at all this year. Look at that.
good dog. You scritches for the dog. Okay, go. I got work to do. Come on. Yeah, I've heard that. I would gladly take Elias Pettersson so much. Elias Pettersson and Matthew Barzal playing on the wing is right into my veins, please. I would do that in a heartbeat. I don't know why Vancouver would do that because they already have a pretty good right-handed defenseman, if I remember. Quinn Hughes, I believe, is a right-handed defenseman who is you're right up there in the.
Oh, I don't know. I think
North
he's
Coast.
lefty.
Is he lefty? Then let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, he is a lefty.
I would do it.
I thought I read somewhere that they were looking for a right-handed defenseman too. That this could just be my brain and like Twitter being Twitter. You know what I mean? But
right,
I would do that so fast too. Obviously,
my only worry is then if you move on from Dobson, you've got a pretty big hole on the right side of defense that we aren't able to fill at all. Yeah. We don't have anyone to step up.
No, there is no, and it's very, very, very challenging to find a number one defenseman. Obviously. I'm still lukewarm on the idea of paying Noah Dobson a big money extension.
Yeah, I agree.
And like Andre's saying here, Vancouver wants a lot more than yes, it's going to be Dobson plus. I would assume if that, and this is just daydreaming, right? Obviously here.
Well, I don't know. I get that Pettersson was once a 100-point player and hasn't been and isn't currently playing at 100-point, but Dobson is still a 70-point right-handed defenseman. That's worth a lot.
It is.
And he was up there, at least in the top 10 per the odds for the Norris Trophy at the beginning of the season. So the expectation was that he'd do 50 plus, no problem. You add a Devon Toews basically plus, like even better on that Vancouver team, that they're going to pay it a lot. And especially if there's rumblings going on there, and if the rumblings are true, the problems in that locker room, I think a 1-for-1 might be worth it, or where we might have to throw in like a couple of picks, futures,
yep.
Nothing too crazy.
I would do it though. I know that creates a big hole, and you got to find someone else to be a number one defenseman, but
you got a hell of a center out of it.
Yep.
To Andre, the fact that Arthur Stable and Andrew Gross are now writing articles about Scott Malkin needing to act is telling and refreshing. This team is done.
It's over. I think even Scott Malkin realizes it. I do.
I think so too. Trey, why is Lou still the GM? Why is Roy still the coach? And then adds, nice dog. Thank you. He's a sled dog. Pulls me all over the place. Love him. But to the more important part. I think that just time isn't up yet. I think they're going to go soon. I don't think they're going to be here too long.
No, I think the Islanders will have a new GM and head coach for next season is my prediction.
Yeah. ACS is saying it sucks that sad when the Rangers are in last place and we can't even enjoy it because we're right behind them and sucking.
Yep. Yeah, it's 7th and 8th in the Metro. You can't even point left. If the Islanders were even like top 4 in the Metro, I feel like we could enjoy it. But 7th, no, I can't do it.
This one from Richard: which team, in your opinion, would be interested in Nelson and Palmieri?
Dallas Stars for Nelson has been where I've been on for a while. Minnesota, his hometown. Palmieri is a little bit harder to find a place, I would think. Just because honestly, I think there'd be more options, as crazy as this sounds. I think there'd be more teams in on Palmieri because he won't be as costly as Nelson. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the good teams already have kind of their centers figured out and are kind of just looking, let me get a depth winger kind of a thing. And now he's a strong depth winger. He's a middle six, depth winger, but I don't know. Any team jumping out to you for either of these guys?
For Palmieri, I'm thinking Boston. I'm thinking New Jersey. Maybe even Colorado. Those are the teams that I'm thinking. And Nelson, it's basically the same ones, really. Maybe not maybe not Colorado because they got Lekin in there for Nelson. But Boston again stands out for Nelson. Toronto would definitely be in on Brock Nelson because their center depth after Tavares and Matthews just isn't that great.
No, that's true.
So that would be an upgrade for them. And even probably even Palmieri. You add a 30 goal scorer to that team. That'd be huge for them. But like
I was thinking, what do you call it?
Dallas?
No. Well, Vegas for Palmieri.
Oh, yeah. Vegas in on anyone all the time, forever and ever. The cap doesn't exist for them. So whatever. Maybe a few more here to kind of level this out. What do we got here from ACS? Make a wide GM to not waste his contract and hire a defensive-minded coach. Get rid of some of lose atrocious extensions. Not a hot take, but something. Trade Nelson. Can't let him walk. No, that'd be stupid. Yeah. That'd be so dumb. If we let Nelson walk, that just can't happen. Here's one for you, bud. I live in Dallas. Nelly's been rumored to cover him. Nelly, that's Jim Neal. Don't know if we can get as much as initially thought.
I think you could still get a lot. I know he's had a down year this year, but I still think you can get a lot for perennial 30-goal center. Like the center is an important part. If he was a wing playing like this, maybe different story, but I think you could still get a first plus for Brock Nelson.
Yeah, and shutdown center, plays on the PK, does it all, man. So, yeah. And then final one here. This is probably the best comment I've seen all day. Absolutely. Hit that like button. Hit all of it, please. The like, the subscribe, the comments obviously help. It gets the numbers up, allows us to reach more Islanders fans. So ACS, please, or not even just please, but thank you for that comment. That was fan-freaking-tastic. Anything else you want to add in before we click out here?
Happy New Year. Thanks for supporting in 2024. More to come in 2025. Hopefully better times ahead. But I think that'll do it for us today, right, Mitch?
Absolutely. Happy New Year, everyone. Hopefully your 2025 is better than this Islanders 2024.
That'll do it. I'm Matt. He's Mitch. We'll catch you next time.